that whole world. And so
Sorry.
basically got to this point where I I was determined to make it work. And then yeah, unfortunately I had a few setbacks along the way, bankruptcy and yeah, wasn't the last time I was broke either.
Yeah, I
It
think
continued for years after that.
one of the things I really appreciate is the fact that you've tried your hand on a lot of things. So you have a lot of experience in different, business models. Yeah.
Yes.
And so you bring in all this wealth of experience from all those areas. How has that impacted your journey today in terms of you helping your students from a place of understanding based on your experience?
Yeah, so I think one of the issues that is faced these days with a lot of coaches and people getting into the game is that it's very one-dimensional. So it's kind of like, okay, I'll go through a program and I learn an element of or a tactic or strategy, whatever, right? And which is fine. I'm not criticizing folks, but I think when you have a singular one-dimensional frame of business, then you're not seeing business for the whole picture that it is.
Mhm.
And I know in my case, because I had so much experience and a lot of failed attempts at a lot of different things, I feel like that is hugely beneficial because I can usually very accurately articulate to my clients, you're
Yeah.
you're about to hit a wall. I can see it. I've been there. I know exactly what you're feeling. And I think that's probably the biggest thing is not necessarily the tactical side of things. I believe anyone can establish those skills over a given period of time. But I think what's more pertinent is my capacity to dive into where the student is
Mhm.
from an emotional basis
Mhm.
and help them over that bridge. I think that's probably the biggest thing because yeah, I mean, it's a very long story, but I've tried and had numerous setbacks with many different things, and so I think not, and I don't wear that with a badge of honor or like woe is me, life was hard or anything like that. It's more because of how much stuff I've done.
Mhm.
I just believe that it's more tools in the tool belt to be able to help more
Mhm.
students
Mhm.
out, help other
Mhm.
people in it. So yeah, that's a really good question though. Oh, you're testing me today.
And I think maybe the community would like to know, when did things turn around for you? When did things change, from,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I so speak on context. So as I mentioned, sort of left the work. Started affiliate marketing, so online journey,
Yeah.
2011. Bankrupt 2015. I actually left work, quit my job in 2017, and I had one client. So I was running ads for my business, which was basically doing lead generation for small business at that time. So I thought I'm going to set up an agency, and if that's going to be my pathway. And so I guess you could say I did actually have some success then, and that was from of all things, it was a very crazy experience because I was working in event management, but there was two events. So I was working on the Good Food and Wine show. There was also another one which was a fitness show, and so the fitness show needed people basically, and so I flew up to Sydney and I'm based in Melbourne, so I flew up to Sydney and started chatting to one of the gentlemen on Saturday morning, and by Sunday I signed him up as a client for my what was then a new business at $1,000 a month, and unintentionally I wasn't trying to cross-pollinate the two things at all. It happened to stumble into conversation. Him and I got along extremely well, and he just said, "Look, I'd like to give the new guy a go." And I'm like,
Okay. Okay.
"Wow, okay."
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I'm getting paid $1,000 a month to manage this guy's ads, and I did really well for them as well. And that was enough for me. I was just like, okay, I've got a taste of what this is like. And so I had a long discussion with my wife, begged and pleaded, and she was in a pretty successful job at the time. And she said, look, we're okay financially. If you really want to pursue this, go make it work. And I'm like, okay, thanks. And so I did, and it didn't work. It was horrible. I think something that is taken for granted, and it's a
Mhm.
very hard to explain. I think you have to go through the journey to feel it. But when
Mhm.
you have been in place of employment or multiple places of employment for many years, you're ingrained into that culture. And I don't think most people realize how mentally taxing those environments are until you're fully out of it. And so for me, and then the reason why and I'll give some context around this in a second, but what happened is when I left work, I started feeling guilty about things. So I wasn't working 12 hours a day. I was watching reruns of
Okay.
Breaking Bad at
Yeah.
lunchtime
Yeah.
for a couple of hours, and I'm like, I should be working more, and I should be making cold calls. I should be doing this stuff. And so I was working really hard, but at the same time, it didn't feel like I was working as hard as I could.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no routine. So I was staying up late, I was waking up late, blah, blah, all that type of stuff. And so I know this is completely off the topic of your question, but anyway. And the reason why I know that this is now a thing that happens when people leave work is because my wife did the exact same thing. She sat on the couch for 6, 7 months after she finally,
Wow.
helped free her from the workforce. And she was just watching shows, and she baked cakes, and she just woke up late, and she did whatever she wanted. And I was like, this is the dream. This is what I've wanted so long. And so, but anyway, the whole point of that saying is that it can be very hard when you transition from working full time to being especially online, we're not surrounded by other people all the time. So that was really hard. So yeah, anyway, 2017 was the first taste of it. But the real success for me came late 2019.
Okay.
And basically there was a 7-day stint where it was almost like I just had so much clarity. I could just see the pathway ahead of me. I knew exactly what to do. I believed, all of a sudden, it's like all this stuff that I'd had self-doubt around. I believed in myself wholeheartedly. And 7 days later, bang, first high ticket sale, $1,000 day. And next day, bang, another one. And so all of a sudden I was just like tears of joy, having come from some financial strain for many years at that point. And it was just incredible. And so yeah, that was probably the richest and most abundant I've ever felt was that $1,000 day. I just, yeah, it was just incredible. When it landed I was on the phone, sorry, on the Zoom, and the person paid, and I could see it. I was refreshing PayPal, I could see it popping through. And plus there was another payment that landed that day. So it was 1,344 Australian dollars, and which was, it was a big day for me at the time. And I was like, I did everything in my power not to cry on the Zoom call. But we ended the call, and I was trying not to like rush through the last part because I'm like, cool, I've got your money now. Like, and I was just so emotional about it. And I just had to like calm myself, and that, took another sort of 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we ended the call, and I sent him all the stuff I was meant to send him, and I was just in tears. It was just the most abundant feeling. So yeah, anyway, sorry, it was a really long answer to a simple question, but yeah, 2017,
Yeah.
quit work. 2019 is when things just clicked into place, and I started kind of getting it, if you know what I mean. So yeah.
It's interesting when you say that when it was time, you saw it. Yeah, you saw it come. And it was very, very clear for you. One of the things that I really love about your teachings that you taught me is this mindset, this having this strong confidence in yourself, in spite of your insecurities, because those will always be there. But if you know you have an offer that can really help somebody, then you're very confident, and I see that in you making your offers. Was it always like this, or how did that come about?
That's an amazing question. No, it was not always like this. No, not at all. No. And I'm still fallible. I'm still a human. I still have tons of insecurities about all sorts of weird and wonderful things. And I know as a leader in our field, you're not meant to confess such things. Like, it's meant to, we're all meant to be like, I'm the strongest leader in the world, and infallible and all this type of stuff. But that's not the truth. And so for me, it's basically the clarity. I'll talk to that piece in particular because I think it's really important for folks that are watching, is that the clarity came from seeing the pathway ahead of me, and also subconsciously giving myself permission to do the thing.
Okay.
And so there's kind of it's a bit of a twofold here, but basically when I saw what I needed to do, in large part it was because I had mentoring. And the mentoring was basically, you're doing way too much stuff. And so you've got, answering questions on Quora over here, and you've got a blog over here, and you like chatbots and email lists and blah, blah, all stuff. And so every day when I'd wake up, I was like, I don't know how to make money, but I'm going to try so freaking hard. And I did. Like, honestly, it was insane. The amount of stuff that I was doing was just, it was just insane. And so therefore, when I looked at everything I was doing and like I wrote a list, it's massive. I'm like, why do I feel like I need to do all this stuff? And a lot of it, and this is where the sort of insecurity element comes into it, is that a lot of it was actually just ego. And what I mean by that is our identity and our ego, a lot of the time, we need to be right as human beings. We yearn to be right. And so if I start down an endeavor and I'm like, I'm going to go and answer 1 billion questions on Quora, and then I'm going to build up some sort of clout over there, and then I'll direct people off to different links and whatever, right? But if that's not working after a certain time, but we've done it for so long, our emotional equity is tied to that. In my case, at least, anyway. And so I was heavily tied into this idea of like, well, I can't let that go. I've just put so much energy, I've put so much time, I can't let it go. And that's ego. That's just my ego going, not accepting that maybe this isn't working for me. And so when I eventually just went, you know what, Jamie, it's your ego talking. Just focus on the few. If you focus on the few, good things will happen, because it's like, you know, that whole thing of like, how do you chop down a tree? I think it's, and forgive me, I don't know if this is accurate, but I believe it might have been from Abraham Lincoln or something like, if you had 5 hours to chop down a tree, you'd spend 4 of them sharpening the axe, right? And so I started to understand this lesson, because I'm like, well, hang on a minute, I've got all these things there, and so much of it is just my ego not wanting to let go of the things that aren't actually working, because I've associated like quitting as some sort of like, oh my God, I'm the worst person in the world, I should be burned in hell immediately if I quit this thing that I've started, as opposed to this mechanism that I've tried. I can either go all in on it, or I can accept that maybe I can pick it up later, but it's not working for me now. And that's not a reflection of me. I'm not a bad human being just because I tried some stuff over here and it wasn't working out. Sorry, incredibly long answer, but I think this was important. And so once I did that, and this is the problem, I see this playing out with so many people, because they are, and it literally is just ego, because they're attached their identity to doing all the stuff, but the stuff isn't actually the stuff that's going to make the money, because they're using that, like, as in, I'm going to go do 100 different things online. In effect, what it does is actually avoid the things that they're meant to be doing to make the money, right? So anyway, so I did that, and once I saw that, and I'm like, oh, and then instead of like feeling guilt and shame, like, oh, I should have done that, I'm such a failure, blah, blah, I went, no, I've picked up so many skills. It's insane the amount of skills that I've picked up. And I don't say that with a sense of, ironically, ego. It's more, I'm like, oh, I actually have. I've sold some stuff before. I've sold a lot of stuff. I've sold probably 8 figures worth of stuff offline. Why don't I just bring that online? And so all of a sudden, this kind of like epiphany hit me with, again, with the mentoring, the confidence of just head in that direction, to get rid of that, just head there. Like, oh, okay, cool, I get it. And so I did, and I started deploying, and I was nervous, I was scared, like the whole thing, because is this going to work? I don't know, it feels like another 1 trillion things that I've tried, and this is going to be another thing that doesn't work. But I was like, you know what, I'm going to have faith, because I can see it playing out. I can see that other people have done the same thing. And for the first time in my journey, I'm like, I need to go do this stuff. I can see other people doing it. So therefore, for once, I've just believed that maybe, just maybe, I do have the skills. Maybe I'm smart enough. Maybe I can make this work myself. And I fully believe that. I just went, it doesn't matter if the results show up now or in 10 weeks or 10 years. This is what I'm going to do. And I started really enjoying it, because I was like, cool, this is fun. Because there was no expectations at that point. I was just like, I think I'm doing the right thing now. And I feel it. I feel like I'm doing the right thing. This is fully aligned with where I'm heading, with what I want to do. And then bang, 7 days later, day number 5, I booked a call. Again, it was someone in my audience for quite a long time. Probably, actually, in hindsight, probably didn't need to call to close this out, but hopped on the call, really relaxed. I tried to go through the scripting process. Felt really weird, because I hate scripts. Like, I've been in sales for years, but I understand the elements of them, and it's more like a guide to guide a conversation. But I don't really like the hello, can you please tell me that? Oh, sorry, I can't read my writing. It's like I don't like that how structured it can be, and I'm not a very structured person, to be honest. And so, but I went through that, and bang, all of a sudden, $1,000 landed, and I'm like, yeah, okay, it literally changed my life. And sorry, I feel like I've deviated so far away from the original question now.
No. Actually, so it's interesting because when most people start, they're so determined, and the very first thing is usually to hit all the platforms that are known to man. I have been there. Like, I think I have footprints on every platform.
Yeah.
No matter how much you get that mentoring and you're brought back, you always feel like you need to do more. Yeah. But somebody said 5 things done 100% correctly, something like that. It doesn't add up to 100% compared to one thing done well. So there's always that
100%.
challenge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And here's just something really for your crowd as well. It's really, really, really hard because most people will do what they see. So I can say, because I'm on a bunch of different platforms now, right? But understand my journey is completely different now. I do all this stuff full time. I've got a VA that helps me. Like, I don't have infinite time, but I have a lot of time, basically. And so therefore I can afford to be on other platforms doing other things. I can syndicate my content. So it's really hard if I say, hey, don't do that. Just stay with one platform. You're like, that's not what you're doing. And even if I say it, like, it doesn't make sense to your subconscious because you're seeing me do something else.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, one of the battles that people don't quite recognize is that they will like, well, Jamie's my mentor, and Jamie's saying I should just do this other thing, but he's not doing that. Like, he's doing the polar opposite of that, and it's really hard because you just end up enacting what you see in front of you, basically, for the most part, in spite of best advice, basically. So I completely get that.
And I like what you said about, like, when things are not working and you need to pivot, but there's this ego that can get in the way. And it's hard to make that move, and even to be seen to make that move, it's really tough, but I think it's important. And as entrepreneurs, we need to be very flexible, but I can see how the ego comes into play. And
massively. And just on that one as well. So we often it's about reframing failure, right? So if I looked at my life and I go, oh my God, I'm such a failure, because it took me 7.5 years to hit my first $1,000 day, and I went bankrupt, and I've had failed relationships, and massive financial setback for many, many years, and made some really, really dumb mistakes in my life. But if I looked at that through that lens, and I went, hang on, I'm not attaching myself to that identity as I'm a failure, because if I did, then it's a short trip to the grave, basically. And so the way to view that is, like, you got to understand that every single human is going to fail at stuff. We are going to get to some point, and it's not going to work out exactly how we plan. And so the difference between entrepreneurs that just keep going and absolutely smash it, and the ones that kind of quit, is because they have their identity attached to that. And it was painful, and it was a very long, hard process because I'm a slow learner, as it transpires. But for me, I detached my sense of identity to the idea of failure. And so what I mean is, like, I fail daily. Like, literally, I'll put up a post and it gets like 1 like, and I'm like, thanks, Mum, I love you. And maybe Esther, thank you, by the way. But then other days, I write something and it pops off. And so, but if I looked at that one post and I went, oh, I'm such a terrible writer, but I don't. I go, look, it's one tiny little piece of a bigger puzzle. And I'm not going to attach my sense of identity to that one post and go, oh, I'm never going to do that again because it was really painful. I'm going to go, okay, fine. Look, it's a challenge, and that's the other thing as well. I've reframed a lot of that stuff. So even the word failure, I used to say, oh, I failed for 7.5 years before I made money online. I don't say that anymore, right? Publicly, obviously I have through this interview, but like, I don't typically say that. I say, I was successfully challenged for a very long time.
Okay.
Obviously a little bit tongue in cheek, but the whole idea is that if I, like, even the word failure, for example, if I put that out there and I say it, there is from a public standpoint, there's so much energy that goes into that word. There's just a ton of energy. And in even saying it now, I feel something. I'm like feeling an emotion popping up by saying the word failure. Maybe it's because I still have a hangover from it or whatever, right? And so from things that didn't work out. But I suspect I'm not the only person that has this kind of thing that's popping up, right? And so I think if we reframe that and we see it as challenges and setbacks, and we don't go, oh, I'm so terrible because I failed at that one thing that one time. It completely changes the game, because then the end goal is still the same, right? The end goal of whatever you want, the North Star, whatever you're aiming for that you want to achieve, is still the same. It doesn't matter if you have a setback along the way. It's like, that's just the hurdle. There's something else I need to work through. And so that reframe for me has been very, very powerful, because again, like on a daily basis, there are things that work really well, things that don't work really well. And of course, after a lot of experience, you become a lot more confident in what you're doing. So therefore, you're more likely to keep going down that pathway, because you've got more evidence to suggest you're heading in the right direction. But I think a lot of the time, folks just go, that didn't work. Affiliate marketing sucks. I'm a failure. I'm never going to do that again because it's too painful. I'm a bad person somehow. I have guilt and shame about being a failure. Anyway, sorry, that wasn't even a question, but I felt that was relevant to your audience.
Thank you for sharing that. Folks, let's know if you have any question. I think I saw Matthew Small was here, but he's sneaking in from a meeting. He's in a wedding in Wyoming. Thank you for being here. And please share with us some of the drinks or whatever.
Sneaking in from a wedding. That's amazing. I'm honored.
Yeah, I want to still on that point of what that we're discussing. What would you say to someone who's just beginning? They don't have massive results, let's say monetary or student results, and yet there's this idea of being very, very confident and going ahead. What would you say to them? They don't have massive authority, so having this kind of confidence is a challenge. Yet that's what we need to get those initial results. What would you say to them?
It is a challenge. It's the hardest part of the journey. I'm not kidding. It is the hardest part. And the other part that is, none of the marketing brochures ever say this, right? No marketing brochure is going to say, hey, you can make a bunch of money online, but you're also going to have to take a massive deep dive into your own psyche. You have to figure out some stuff in here. You have to understand your relationship with money, and all your trigger points for your emotional awareness level. Like, that's not in the brochure, because that's not fun, right? There's not. For me, it is. Like, I love it. The deeper I get into this game, the more I want to explore that stuff about myself, right? So I'm probably a different animal, I guess. But for beginners, two things. Number one is set your horizons out really far, because and again, I'm part of the problem, not the solution in most parts. So I'm a marketer, and I love making money. I love eating. I love making pizza sketches. It's beautiful. And so part of that is over time, you start to understand what triggers human emotion. And therefore it can be a bit of a funny game, because you're also part of the problem. But what I mean is that the way that the marketing industry is designed is to appease our need for instant gratification, or our desire for instant gratification. So it's like, and if we look at, say, Alex Hormozi's value equation, for argument's sake, which is basically when the dream outcome times by the, you might have to help me on this, I always forget for some reason, the effort and times on the bottom, effort and sacrifice on the other bottom, dream outcome times by perceived likelihood of achievement. So dream outcome times by perceived likelihood of achievement when they are up, and the time it takes you to get your goal is reduced, and times by the effort and sacrifice to get that is reduced. So if we don't have to do too much and it doesn't take much time, and dream outcome is huge, and we believe that we can get it, the value goes up, right? And that is, marketers understand that. We live that stuff, even though I can't articulate the value equation very accurately to you guys, I'm afraid. But we understand that. We live through that. And so therefore, that's all the marketing is. It's basically curiosity and all that type of stuff, right? We present that to people. And so over time, as a newbie, you're like, oh yeah, that person made like 55 grand in like 3 weeks from scratch, starting out. That's incredible. And so what we do is, as our reticular activating system starts to look at those outliers, those rare cases of people that have just like somehow right time, right place, right connection, blah blah, like like a fungi erupting out of nowhere. And we looked at those and we're like, oh, that could be me, because that's our ego attaches to that identity. Like, yeah, that could be me. I'm a hard worker. I'm like smart, I'm quite smart. I think I'm smart. Am I smart? Maybe I'm not. I don't know. Yes, I am. I'm going to head in that direction. I'm going to do a thing. And so when and especially if we see people that look, act, and I was going to say feel, but we probably can't. You know what I'm saying? Like we relate to them very well. We relate to their stories. We relate to their backstories. And so we look at that and we go, oh, I will be one of those people because I'm a super hard worker. And they get in and it's like, oh, this is really, okay. Even though the roadmap is right in front of me, I think I understand how to, and all this stuff that you didn't know about yourself pops up and you have to go through that journey. And then there is that rare case that just like gets it and they just go and do the thing, right? But again, very rare. But us as marketers, that's what we're highlighting those folks, right? So anyway, again, sorry, really long-winded way to say, I'm giving you guys all the secret. This is all the secret sauce. I'm like,
Thank you.
my membership to the marketers guild is going to be cancelled after this, I can assure you. But yeah, set your time horizons longer, because if you go, okay, well, I need to make money in the next 3 days, you're putting undue pressure on yourself, right? If you set that out for a year, 2 years, imagine if you did it for 3 years and you didn't make money, but at the 3 year mark, all of a sudden, bang, you've got like a 500 grand per year business because you just kept doing those small little tasks along the way. Imagine that. Like, most people wouldn't want to wait that long, but if I could guarantee, hey, tell you what, if you just keep doing this thing, just these 5 little tasks every single day for 3 years with no payment whatsoever, but you instantly get an upfront payment of 500 grand or $1 million at the end of year number 3. Would you do it? Most people, okay, I can do it because if they guarantee it. But that's the thing, most people are looking, oh yeah, but this is so hard. I mean, I haven't made any sales. And then there's their neighbors right next to them. Oh, I started yesterday and I've already made 7 sales.
Yeah.
And so you compare, and all the text out there says don't compare your journey to anyone else's, but we do. We're human. We can't help it. Like, even though keep your blinders on, I'm a racehorse, I'm looking right ahead. We do, because it's a lot of the times how we're structured as humans. So set your time. Sorry, long-winded way of saying set your time horizons really far, and nothing you do is important. Right. This is going to be a really weird one, but nothing you do is important. And what I mean by that is, if you again, looking at the long-term horizon, let's assume, fingers crossed, we're all going to be beautiful, elderly people. Let's assume that's the case. We live to 100 years old, whatever.
Yeah.
In a perfect world. But that's not how life works. Some of us are not going to be there that long. There's accidents and illnesses and blah blah. And so most people, and this is where it's sort of like a bit of a paradox in some ways. So I'm like, say, look long term, but don't look long term. But if we understand that things could disappear in terms of our humanly body, our earthly plane could disappear at any time, that allows us to stop putting so much importance on every one tiny little task that we do on a day-to-day basis. Because that one piece of content that oh no, what are people going to think if I put this out? Oh gosh, no one gives a flying.
Yeah.
And I'm going to refrain from swearing on this particular interview. I think it's
Thank you.
trying to be on my best behavior. I'm sorry, but no one really cares. And in 5 seconds, this is the beauty of social media, is in 5 seconds, there's a new thing that's popped up, and no one's going to think, I can't believe Esther said that in the interview. I can't believe Jamie said that in that interview that's now recorded forever. Oh, I'm so cross with him.
Yeah.
No one cares. No one cares. Yeah. And the thing that is going to create, if you want to be, everyone says attraction marketing, blah, blah. If you want to attract people, it's not from being afraid to do stuff. It's from strength and leadership and testing and experimentation and fun, right? That is what humans are. We are naturally attracted to that. And if you're sitting there going, oh gosh, I should have to spend my I don't know. Well, what should I write today? It has to be, because we put this undue pressure on. Oh, I have to write the best content today. No, you don't. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just put some content out there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's another opportunity tomorrow. Do another one today if you feel inspired, right? It doesn't matter. And so therefore, again, setting the time horizons, but understanding that the game of life is not guaranteed. It's very short, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't enjoy what we're doing, and even for me, I enjoy the discomfort of understanding my own ego and all this kind of weird relationship with money and all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I freaking absolutely, I love waking up every single day and I'm like, oh, cool, I get another shot at this. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I'm in a bad mood, I'm still like, there's still part of my brain that's just like, man, I'm here. I made it. I'm here. And for context, you know, I went had heart surgery and all sorts of stuff and had multiple near-death experiences through my life, many times. Should have died many times, right? So maybe that has altered my psychology. I'm not too sure. So anyway, you getting into some kind of deep stuff here, but set your time horizons really long. Enjoy the pathway. Understand no one really gives a crap, so don't be afraid to do stuff. The strength of your own leadership, especially around yourself, like if you can lead yourself, that is going to attract other people, right? So understand that and just let go of needing everything to be perfect. Just it doesn't need to be. And make sure that as part of your learning, that the application of that learning far exceeds the time you spend learning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, because I'm guilty of this as well. Like, so I really love, got a few, well, many different mentors at this point. But some of my mentors, I'm just like, I just love hearing their voice. So I'm just like, I play some stuff and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm learning some stuff now. But then I'm like, okay, well, how do I practically apply what they're teaching?
Yeah.
And it's the practical application of that is going to get you so far, because you're going through it and you're confused, you're not quite understanding things. And then eventually you get the lesson and it just bang, it's on you like, oh, okay, I get that now. Cool, I know how to sell some stuff now. I now know what Jamie was saying in that interview now.
Wow.
So yeah, sorry, very long-winded answer.
Oh, that's
set your time presence, Brian.
Yeah, I think that what I'm hearing is just put your head down and do what you need to do. And I think, I don't know if it was Tony Robbins or who said that people underestimate what they can achieve in a year and overestimate what they can achieve in a day. And also one of the things that I hear you saying often is to emotionally remove yourself from the outcome, something like that. Yeah. Do the thing and remove yourself from the outcome. There's something like that, yeah?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So we're just, I've got a hand grenade. We're about to go into some deep stuff, but with that one, if we want anything in life, we can't need it.
Okay.
Because if we need something, what we do is we attach a fear to not having it. I need this. And so one of my students recently, and she jumped on the Zoom and we were chatting and said, I really blah 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 blah, but I needed the money. Blah 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 blah. I need the money. And I was like, I won't say her name, but I was like, do you understand when you're saying need, you're emotionally creating an attachment to that thing. And when you create that attachment to that thing, there's a subconscious part of you that is also fearful that that won't happen. And when you are fearful that it won't happen, you subconsciously think about it not happening over and over and over again. So how subconscious works. It's a mechanism of protection for our ego. Caveman day stuff, right? And so I say, change it to want. You want the money. You don't need it. Like if you didn't have the money now, she was completely fine. She's like, I've actually got a garden full of food, so I'd be completely fine. And I've got the stuff and got the stuff. And so yeah, we often say things like, I need the money, but we don't. Like, I mean, yes, we need, in that sense, but when we are attaching things like need to something, an outcome that we want, we subconsciously push it away. And so the idea is to change that to a want. I want more money. Why? because it will help me to look after my family, help me to give them some amazing experiences. Can you do that now without money? Yeah, to some degree, but that buys a lot more choices. What else does it do? Well, it helps me fulfill something within me. I have to grow to become an entrepreneur, to become the strong leader, to lead myself, which then, as a byproduct of that, will lead other people as well as my family. I want that. I don't need it. I want it. And so when you want something, there's a fun energy with it. There's a real fun energy. It's like, oh, that's good. Because you just start dreaming, right? You're like, let's go, we're going to do that. We're going to go to Disneyland. We're going to do, like, everything becomes fun. And if you can attach fun to the outcome, then it doesn't matter if it happens or not, because you're just enjoying the process of getting there. And I think that's a big mistake folks make, is that, and self included, like I love these things because it reminds me as well, right? I'm saying this stuff, but it's also a reminder to myself. And so, yeah, it's about changing the frame. If you want something, cool, go get it. It's out there. There's so much opportunity. It's ridiculous how much opportunity is there. It's insane.
Wow, that's really, really powerful. That when you turn it into a want, then it becomes fun because it's something like you're going after, as opposed to a need being something you desperately need. It's just negative energy to it. That's really amazing. Yeah. Wow. Thank you everybody for joining. I see Nikki is joining. Is watching with us. I see Stu as well. Thank you for being here. Drop any question you have, any comments you have for Jamie. Oh wow, I see time is really going, and I feel like we're just getting started.
It's all right. I've got all day. It's fine. I do nothing on Fridays. So
awesome. I want to just move on a bit to the main thing that your business is about, which is building communities and being able to monetize them. And I love this idea of building an audience both proactively and I think attractively. There's something you say between you have to be proactive. Fine, it's good to look for the attractive aspect, but you have to be very proactive about it. Talk to us about this idea of building communities, because in this community, we have a variety of expertise. We have coaches, we have consultants, we even have published authors, we have affiliate marketers, and everybody needs to have a mechanism to monetize themselves online. And the way you teach is through communities. Can you talk to us about that a bit?
Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack there, but I guess the simple things is so with the proactive approach and attractive approach, first and foremost, that is about, so we can go out there and create content. I can go out and create a piece of content. People will metaphorically raise their hand and then go into my DMs and buy some stuff, or find a link and buy some stuff, right? Which is cool. Thank you for that, by the way. It's amazing. But I can't rely on that, and I don't want to rely on that, because ideally we want to have some level of intentionality. Because if we don't, then it's like, oh, I'm going to put out some content and hopefully this works today. Because I can't guarantee that. Yeah, I'm super confident in certain elements of my writing ability to be able to get those hand raisers to raise the hand, do the thing, right? Find my links, etc. I can't rely on it. I don't want to rely on it. I'd rather have a proactive approach where I'm aiming to go and build a relationship, and that is exactly why a community is so amazing. Is it's about having those close-knit relationships. Had this interesting thing pop up recently where I hopped on Zoom. It was like I can't remember why I was on the Zoom. I was hosting something or other, and I looked around the room and I knew personal details about every single person in the room. I was like, hey, how's your dog? Oh, hey, oh my God, you're out of hospital. That's amazing. Like, how's things? Blah, blah. Oh, how's your kids? Yeah, I see you're on holidays at the moment. I hope you get and I mean, I am genuinely curious about human beings, so therefore I take interest, right? But it was also at that moment I had this crazy epiphany where I'm like, wow, my audience is really close to me. As in, I know them. I've had some sort of, we've been on this type of environment, or we've gone and had 1,000 different exchanges online, or like even folks that I just kind of like roughly knew. We might not have even had a DM conversation, but it was like, I feel like I know this person to some degree. And so with the community, if you think about it, that's why I love communities, because it has an element of closeness to it. And as I've proven time and time again with now hundreds of students, you don't need a huge audience to make a good amount of money from doing that. And it's not about like, haha, I'm going to get people into my universe to make money off them, but it's how can I help them? How can I elevate them so that the byproduct is I get paid, right? How can I help them with a particular skill or a particular thing that they want, whether money or, you know, losing weight or a healthy relationship, whatever it is, right? How can I help them so that the value that I'm giving them is disproportionate to the amount of money that I'm getting paid? The reason why I love communities as well is A, because of that, because of the close-knit nature of them.
Okay.
But it's also because I know in advance, if someone lands in my world, they jump into my Facebook group, and it doesn't matter where you build, by the way.
Okay.
But I just love Facebook groups. There's 3 questions I can ask. And as part of someone coming into my world and I can ask these 3 questions, I get data. Now, if we want to look at it from a business holistically, that data then provides me feedback in real time, actively from my community about the struggling with, about what they want, what their hopes and dreams are. And so I can create content based on exactly what they're telling me. Not because I'm like hypothetically making up, which I do most days anyway, because I've done this for so long. I now know what most people want. But I could take this person wants to not ever have to touch a funnel ever again. Okay, well, that's kind of ironic, but you know, but I can create some content that speaks to that desire.
Okay.
And so imagine if I'm just writing to that one person, but I use the exact sentence that they've put in their answers. I'm literally speaking their language. And it is so unbelievably powerful. Even they might not see it immediately, but maybe they'll see it. Maybe someone else, the next day I'll write something else and someone else will see it. And I'm building a connection. This is what we call, Dan Kennedy refers to this as being an affinity bridge. And so the idea is that humans across the globe, cultural differences, verbal differences, everything different, right? There is a something that our subconscious yearns for to create a commonality between us, because that is how we build tribes, right? Like monetize your tribe is how we build our tribes. And it could be the tiniest little thing. For example, I like your lamp in the background there. I think my wife is an interior designer, should approve of that. Oh, your wife's an interior designer, that's interesting.
Okay.
Used to work as a blah blah. Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting. Oh, that's an interesting necklace. What's that? Oh, it's the St. Christopher. Oh, well, St. Christopher, that's incredible. Sorry, I don't know, I'm just making that up, but it could be the tiniest little deal anyway. So that tiny little piece of thing that we put out there, sometimes it just touches that person. And a really good example of this is you and I. Because forgive me, but you weren't on my radar. I wasn't like, you and I weren't DMing each other back and forth going, hey, Esther, how's it going? Blah, blah. I don't know how you found me.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I just like get this Stripe notification. I'm like, cool. Who is this? Who's Esther? She's, oh, okay. And amazing, by the way. I love that. But that's the point. That's the point, is that I've put something out there. I've showcased an understanding of something, I've showcased a skill or whatever, maybe a little bit of authority. And at some point, it doesn't have to be like, you know, don't look at it because I've been doing this for so many years, like, and think, oh, I can't do that. Anyone can do it. That's how my students have had the successes that they've had. It's because they've built these communities. They've had students that have had 30 people in their communities start making high ticket sales, 3 to 4 grand deals. One of my students crossed over 10 grand with 73 people in the audience, in their community. And it's the same thing. All it is, it's like judo, right? You're leveraging the opponent's momentum. So that's why I love community. So it's a close-knit nature of it. You're really in detail in terms of you know, the help that you can provide people as well. And it flows back to you massively.
Okay. I think one of the things, a lot of people have communities, groups, but one of the biggest challenges is actually like getting the community engaged.
Yeah.
what can you share there, apart from the content based on data? How else would you advise in terms of keeping the communities engaged? Is it by chatting them, often on the side, or making offers? What would you say there?
Yeah, really, really good question. I won't deny that the capacity, the ability to get folks engaged is getting harder because there's more communities, right? And like everyone's jumping over to school. I'm not. I'm staying put on Facebook. I don't really care. Not gonna just jump. But a lot of folks are doing that because of certain things, and one of the things is because the engagement in Facebook groups is that it's declining. There's no other way of putting it. That it's declining. The people are getting bored. There's too many things popping up for them and too much stuff for them to consume. So therefore, they don't feel part of that community to the same degree. So a couple of things you can do is number one is going back to my comment about the value equation. So Alex and Mosey, dream outcome, perceived likelihood of achievement, time decay, and effort and sacrifice, right? So yes, I got it that time. But if we go back to that, there's another element of that, which is basically curiosity. If we can invoke a sense of curiosity within people, they will be intrigued. They will want to know the how does that story end? So this is something in copywriting we call it's called the Zeigarnik effect. And I can't think of her first name, but her surname was Zeigarnik. She's a psychologist. I'm not going to go into the details too far because I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, go look it up, Zeigarnik effect. And basically, what it means is that humans need to close an open loop, basically, in simple terms, right? So if we have something that's curious, we want to conclude that story. We want to like, why is that the case? That we are intrigued. And the things that intrigue us are, I made $13,874.87 yesterday without leaving the house and without doing any work. Want to find out how. How you want to find it? Like, how did you, what is this? This is crazy. Yes, I want to find out, right? And so it's those things. And so, of course, the tricky part is when you're getting started, you're like, well, I don't have any results. But you do, you still have results. Like, everyone has results. Like, here's a simple process I use to increase my engagement by X%. Oh, wow, because me as a beginner, if I get more engagement, then I'm going to get more eyeballs on my stuff. And if I get more eyeballs on my stuff, then probably means I get more leads. Bang, next one. Here's how I get daily inbound leads. Hashtag me below. Oh, daily inbound, I need daily inbound leads. And then eventually, here's how I made 5 sales in 5 days using this one simple trick. This one simple trick, I want to find out. Right. And so then if we can invoke that curiosity, then you can get more engagement. The other thing, this is the part of marketing I don't necessarily love. But it's also about audience behavior, behavioral teachings.
Okay.
And Ben Settle talks a lot about this in his books, if you ever consume all of them. But basically, if you can get people to perform a certain action, and then you reward that behavior with whatever it is, right? Then they're going to do more of it. It's just human nature. It's like children. It sounds really bad. It's like kids, right? You reward good behavior, you punish bad. It's not necessarily, I don't punish, like, I think I don't do that. But you can, to an extent, reward that. And so school is actually a really good example of this because they've got the leaderboards, right? Top 10 most engaged people.
Yeah.
And that is what it does, is it triggers our dopamine because we're like, oh, I'm the most engaged. Oh, now I'm 4th on the list. But we, as humans, we want to be number 1. So if I'm number 4, this part of my brain, for some reason, is going to trigger, and I'm going to want to be the most engaged person in the community for some reason, right? So, but you can do the same thing. You can just reward it in different ways on Facebook. So you do that type of stuff. Now, one other thing I will say is, and full credit to my very good friend and mentor, Jacob Karras, for this, but he basically was looking at his schedule on a week-to-week basis. And he was like, well, my group feels dead at the moment. So what am I going to do with this? And he's thought, okay, well, I wonder if I can get away with just doing 3 posts per week. And so basically start putting out 3 posts per week. So number one is Monday, it tells a story, right? So to give some context around this, here's resource. We all have resources. If you've been doing this for any length of time, you've got resources coming at you, everything. And so these are like guides and templates and files and done for you, this, that, and the other thing, right? So, but we can all do it. So it's not super complex. But let's say hypothetically, like I've got say a copywriting guide. Like I love writing, and and I would argue I'm kind of okay at it because I've sold a fair bit of stuff through my writing. And so therefore, I might have something in my little tool bag that is something that helps me, or something that I've created for my students to help them. And so I might on Monday write a post talking about how this is a real life story. I was a high school dropout. I had to repeat my last year of English because I sucked at it and I still can't spell to save myself. Actually, no, I can spell really well, but grammar, not so much. But if my teachers could see me now and I get paid to write, blah, blah, blah. P.S. If you would want like access to my blah, 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 infinite ideas writing guide, drop a hashtag me below, right? So that's your post on Monday. And so you're creating a story around why it exists. Back Monday, you get a few people hand raised. These are people like metaphorically, hey, I'd like some info. No one, it doesn't mean that they're automatically going to become buyers, right? But it does mean that you can go and have a conversation with those folks. You can start to develop that relationship. And it's not you trying to like force the issue, like, hey, thanks for joining my group. Here, buy my stuff. It's like, hey, yeah, cool. So here's the thing. Enjoy, hope it helps. What are you working on at the moment? Right? So you do the same on Wednesday. You just put up it's what we call a bait post or a 2-step post, just a purple background. Who wants the simple copywriting guide I've used to make 6 figures in 5 seconds without leaving the couch? Without writing anything and with being faceless and do all the stuff that everyone wants. Hashtag me below. Me. Okay, bang. And then again on Friday, just following up, who didn't get my guide on blah, 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 right? And so then, and that's literally, that's his whole framework now. So kudos, like I said, credit to him. I mean, no, I totally invented that. But I've done that a little bit in my business, and it has helped to increase the engagement as well. So that's another way. But over and above that, what I will say, doesn't like that's all tactical stuff, by the way. That's tactical. The underpinning thing that is going to get people engaged is if an environment, and this is, I will freely admit, this is something that I've wavered in at certain times of my business life, is that if an environment is really fun to be in, people will want to just hang out there. And so it could be giving away stuff and curiosity and blah, 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 and hyping up. And like, I don't love the hype. I'm not very good at it because I've always been fairly self-motivated. So I actually find it quite hard to try and motivate others.
Me too.
And that's my fault, right? Like I need to work on that, obviously. But if you are someone that's just like, yeah, freaking Monday, let's freaking go. What do you guys got on? But if that energy is projected either through written content or verbalized or whatever, it is super infectious. And that there, people just like, I just want to, I don't know why, I just want to come back to this food. And that there is going to underpin anything. Anything tactically you can do, that's cool, whatever. But if you love rocking up, you love being there, you love helping people, you're celebrating the tiny little wins along the way. Esther, thanks so much for joining my group. Woo! All right. And it sounds a little bit silly, to be honest, but it's just people love it. So there you go. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty heavy stuff, but I think we lost it live. I'm not sure, so we'll see.
Okay. Sorry.
So maybe we can just to wrap it up, we can talk about your new program that not new program, but what the offer that you've launched recently around building communities and being able to monetize having that offer and just the whole process. And I have to say, this is one of those offers that I think you're the one who says Jamie must be mentor offers. It's ridiculous. Ridiculously generous. And can you talk to us a bit about that and what you're working on?
Absolutely. So basically what after having done this since 2011, right? I've kind of like that movie Taken. I've developed a very particular set of skills, and part of that skill is me helping folks unlock what's in their brain in order to monetize their skills online. So whether you are an affiliate, obviously I've had a really extensive background in affiliate marketing, but whether you're an affiliate, network marketer, you're a coach, you're a consultant, course creator, what I help folks with is to build and monetize an audience online, specifically around communities. And there is a new component to that coming, which is automated traffic, which I'm currently working on the designs. I just need to iron out a few wrinkles with that one. But basically, it's about building an ecosystem around their community. So I help folks install that into their business. And the idea is that there's what we call a flexi offer. And the idea is that, okay, so typical model with high ticket is I will charge 5 to 10K for coaching. Still works, it's still fine. And that was typically done through a sales call. So you hop on Zoom, and this is sort of like, you have to buy now. There's kind of like even if there's no pressure from the salesperson, there's still an element of pressure for you as a consumer to buy at that point.
Yeah.
Even if they're chilled, even if they're really relaxed, right? So I have sold literally millions and millions of dollars through sales calls. And I got to this point where I was looking at my calendar. I'm like, this is not what I want to do anymore. I don't enjoy this. I love today. Like this is the only thing that I have on today. So I will go after this, and I will write some content, and I will take care of some admin stuff. And it's a beautiful sunny day outside, so I'll probably go for a big walk, hang out in the park. I'll probably maybe make a couple of calls or whatever. And that's it. I'll cook tonight. I love cooking, so that's my day, right? And so. But if I had sales calls, then I would be obligated. Like, hey, it's 9:05. I've got to I don't want that. And so I developed this process, both through my own mentoring and I guess my own experience as well, to close high ticket sales without the need for sales calls. This is what I teach inside my Monetize Your Tribe program. The flexi offer comes into approach where the combination of both high ticket and recurring allows you to have recurring income, as well as a high ticket offer as well, should you choose to. So that's it, basically. At the moment, got a pretty amazing opportunity for anyone that is interested in locking arms with me, getting their help to install this process in your business. And it is the cheapest it's ever going to be ever. And I'm never going to put it at these levels again. And you can mark my words, and this is on public record. So so if you do want access, go have a chat to Esther. She'll send you the Google Doc and have a read through.
Yes, yeah. It's an amazing offer. Like I said, it's one of those, and I think I agree with you. I don't think you'll ever have it this low. So if anybody wants to know more details, just ping me. Jamie actually brought some discount codes for some of his programs and also for MYT. So ping me if you have any questions. Let's look at it. I also have my own ridiculous bonus that I'm adding on top of that. So ping me and let's talk about it. If there's any question, please drop it in the chat. I'll get a hold of Jamie to answer it for us. But Jamie, you've shared so much with us today. I just have one last or two questions that you can share with us.
Sure.
For those who are watching this interview, what is one action step you would hope everybody takes after this interview if they want to see massive results, going forward?
Wow. That's a big one. One action step. And I'll try and be succinct because obviously I can talk apparently. Yeah, it's a really good question. I think sort of echoing what I was saying before. I think it's really just that idea of like set your intention about the bigger picture. Don't be so reactive to the day-to-day. Don't be so reactive and like needing to hold on to how good something is, like content-wise, right? Just put it out there. And don't hop, like just stay really steadfast. And I know this is not really an action step, but like stay absolutely steadfast to what your goal is. And understand that there's always going to be more opportunities, always going to be a new platform that pops up. There's always going to be a new thing that you can try, a new algorithm, new this, that, the other thing. And every time in my business, I will really admit this, but every time my income has dropped and I've taken a step back to review why, it is because I'm not following my own advice. And my own advice is like, hey, stay focused on the goal. Stay, ignore all that stuff. It's when I've kind of go, oh, I actually go check out that traffic. So, that's where I'm going to throw some money at that and give it a shot. And that's when things really break for me, because I'm like, there's too many things, too many moving parts, and I start becoming scattered. So if you want a practical piece of advice, go literally as soon as you hop off this, go and put some content out there. Go make an offer. You've got nothing to lose.
Mhm.
Absolutely nothing. And the only thing you think you can lose is just your own pride and ego. Throw an offer out there. Who cares?
Yeah.
Because here's the crazy thing. There is 3% of your marketplace that are ready, willing, and able to buy right freaking now. Right now. They're lost. They got it's what we call in copywriting a bleeding neck problem. Like I need to kind of get this fixed up, and they got their credit card net. Like, is there any dodges for these? 3% of your marketplace, and you don't know where they are. You don't know when they're going to turn up. You don't know the timing of when it's going to work, unless you put an offer out there. Go put an offer out there. Who wants to check out the free Zoom I did? Who wants to check out the MYT Monetize Your Tribe offer doc? Yes.
Yeah.
Some people are going to say no. Some people are going to block you. Some people are going to ghost you. But there will be someone out there that will go, that's it. This is the thing I want right now. I need it. This is the thing. I've been waiting for this.
Wow.
And the amount of times on the back of that, sorry, now you've triggered something in me. Yes. Oh my goodness. But the amount of times I've had people say, and this is, and forgive me, this is going to sound really egotistical, but it's true. It's happened so many times where people go, I wish I'd found you first. I wish I'd found you first. And it's not the lesson of like, oh, I'm so great. That's part of it, because my ego needs that fuel. But the other part of it is I should have made more offers, because maybe I just didn't make an offer at the right time. They've gone somewhere else first and they come back. So they've gone and spent all this cash and then come back to me like, oh, where were you all this time? Maybe there's that person out there for you. So the practical, coming back to the actual question, sorry, I think the practical thing is go out and offer. All your money issues can be solved by creating goodwill and equity in your audience and inviting them to see. You don't have to force them into buying anything. That's up to them, right? You can't control what another human does. We can't, right? This is about being detached. But inviting them to see the thing that might solve the particular problem that they're facing at that time. And if they can, some of them are going to buy some stuff.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the game. That's it. And then you make a bunch of money. And you're like, well, oh my God, that was way easier than I thought. And all of a sudden you become confident in that, and then you just keep doing it.
Wow.
And you can join my 50 grand mastermind. I don't have one.
That's really, really powerful, but it's all that it boils down to. I know, people don't want to feel salesy, they don't want to make too many offers, but I like how you put it. Just if you have an offer that can help somebody, by not making those offers, you're not doing them a service. So you keep putting it out
that's the
there.
thing. And
Yeah.
sorry, I know you're kind of wrapping up, but on that one, and this is the thing, because there's so many people that and again, this is our pride, this is our like egos, we're worried about what other people think. I want to be too salesy. So, and no one does. Like, who loves the idea of being like, there's a character of The Simpsons, Gil Gunderson. Oh, Gil needs to make a sale, right? No one wants to be that. Oh, come on, Gil almost made a sale that time. No one wants to be that guy. No one wants to be like somehow we've manipulated someone. We've got one over on someone and they've bought our stuff. Like, no one wants that.
Yeah.
But the way to think about this is that if we have something that we believe, and this is the key element of it.
Yeah.
If we believe it can truly help someone out, and we're not putting it out there, we're not even telling people about it.
Yeah.
Because we're scared.
Yeah.
We're doing them a disservice. And it's like, how I said, the bleeding neck problem in copywriting is one of the things we talk about. But imagine that someone's got like, hey, can you help me fix this up? Like, it's quite bad. And you're like, no.
Yeah.
You just ignore it. Why? Why would you do that? You're not even helping someone, but you're truly helping if you believe that, hey, this is a solution. It might not be the right thing for you. And this is why the whole why I love the no call conversion code is basically what I've developed through Monetize Your Tribe, where you can close high ticket sales through Google Blog. Why is that? Because all the information is there. Yeah, there's deadlines. I want people to move in rhythm, right? So there's deadlines. They do have to make a decision before certain time frames happen.
Yeah.
But other than that, ask me questions. And even in the last part of my tenure when I was taking sales calls, I'd hop on a call. I wasn't actually selling. This is a crazy part to think of. I wasn't even selling.
Yeah.
I was communicating with folks. Yeah, cool. So what do you, yeah, no, the kids are nearly, this age, blah, blah. So I think it's time. So cool. Look, do you want me to give you some info on how I help folks, or no, thanks. I'm just okay, fine, no worries at all. And then they would buy later on, right? And the conversion rate actually went up when I stopped selling. I know it sounds so counterintuitive, but it was ridiculous. Wow. But anyway, the whole point of me saying all this is like you need to be aware that whatever you have as a solution can be the right solution for someone.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, and this is really, really important, it doesn't matter what your results are with that. Because I think a lot of the time people go, well, I can't sell that affiliate product because like they promised me I was going to make $1 billion in 3 days. And it's been like 4 days. I'm like, I've only made like 20 mil.
Yeah.
Like, and so
yeah.
Slight exaggeration, we kind of get the point, but I think a lot of time people then go, oh, well, like I don't feel good about selling this. But what they're forgetting is that the information, especially if there's evidence to suggest that other people have got some certain results, it doesn't matter what your results are at all. Doesn't matter. You need to give that person the right of refusal. Here's information. If you'd like something else, and you're not swindling them, you're not like, oh yeah, totally, you'll make $1 billion in 3 days, and if you don't, then I'll be your best friend forever. Like, you don't need to do that, right? It's like, here's the information, go check it out. If it's for you, cool. No, hey, no stress at all.
Yeah.
And the more you can do that, the more relaxed you do feel in that. And then eventually your own results start to happen. You understand that lesson as well. And then it kind of takes off from there. So anyway, massively long way.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to end it. Folks, just go out there, just do the thing, and thank you so much, Jamie, for sharing all this. If you want to be on Jamie's side and hear more of this, join Monetize Your Tribe. I think the deadline is until 31st, if I'm not wrong, for the current offer. So folks need to act quickly. I'll be on standby in case you have any question, or if you're watching this in the replay later, still shoot me a message, and we'll talk to Jamie and see what can happen. But thank you so much for being here, Jamie, today. Unless you have any parting shots for our audience, for our community.
I think I've covered a lot, but I think just in parting, thank you so much. By the way, this has been a lot of fun, and I love these. Life is short, folks. Go make some offers.
Yep.
Don't be afraid of, and this is the weird part about the coaching game. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. I'll leave you with one little story before I go. But when I said earlier that it took me many, many years to finally crack the code, as it were, right? 7.5 to be precise. But in those 7.5 years, I developed a bunch of skills. Went bankrupt, blah, blah. And the thing I didn't do in those 7.5 years? I didn't get mentoring. I'm stubborn in a good way. Like, I'm flexible in my opinion and in my interactions with humans. Like, I'm not going to be so stubborn and tied to my decision at all times. But when it comes to doing stuff, very, very, very stubborn. And so I was really stubborn. I don't need mentor. I can figure it out. I'm smart. I can figure it out on my own. 7.5 years, and you know what happened? Got mentoring. 7 days later, bang!
Wow,
that's all it took.
Yeah,
the confidence, the knowledge, the expertise, the systems, and just the get rid of that. And I accepted. I'm going to listen and do what my mentor tells me.
Yeah.
For once, right? Because otherwise my ego would pop up and go, oh no, I'm not gonna, that sounds great, but I've got all this stuff. I was like, yeah, you know what? No, I've thrown a bunch of cash at this stuff. So therefore I owe it to myself to just go forth and listen to what they have to say and enact upon what they have told me. 7 days later, bang, $1,000 a day.
Wow.
So my point is, don't be afraid to give up the thing that is replaceable a million times over for the only thing we can't get back. So what I mean is, don't be afraid to invest money to save time. A lot of people, self-included, had that backwards for a very long time.
Yeah.
And that was what I will leave you with.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. I'm gonna wrap this up, and we'll catch you in the community. And I think Jamie is very active on Facebook, so you can look him up and give him a follow, join his community. That's okay. And thank you, Jamie, and I wish you a wonderful day, and we'll chat soon, okay?
Amazing. Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Esther.
Thanks. Bye.